What's up everyone, it's Daniel here. Today we're going to be looking at the best defenses to stash week by week in the playoffs. We'll be looking at specifically weeks 14 to 16, my top 10 defenses, and how we want to stack these or hold. We're going to include some of the defenses that are probably owned by a lot of you all, but we will also have some that you could probably pick up in the waiver wire. So let's go ahead and look at this. Starting with week 14, here's my list of the top 10. This is in a ranked order, but a lot of these defenses are sort of in the same tier, if that makes sense at all. So we're starting with the Saints at the Eagles. You know, not a very fluid offense. We don't really know how Jalen Hurts is going to play. I like the 49ers at Washington. Washington is really not an offense that I'm concerned about. Rams at Patriots. I think Patriots are going to struggle against the Rams' really good D. Seahawks at Jets. I don't think really need an explanation there. Colts at the Raiders. I understand that the Raiders are where they can be a high-scoring team, but I do think the Colts are going to give them some problems, especially with everyone healthy. Ravens at the Browns. The Browns looked really good against the Titans last week, but you know the Ravens did really well against the Browns earlier this year, and they had more weapons with OBJ being healthy, so I can see the Ravens doing well. Bucs against the Vikings, Cardinals against the Giants. On the other hand side of things, Washington against the 49ers. I expect that to be somewhat of a lower scoring game. And the Panthers at the Broncos. Honestly, the Broncos don't really scare me, and the Panthers have surprisingly been doing pretty well over the last 2 weeks, so let's hope they have their players back and they should be able to do decently well. So that's week 14, essentially ranks 1 through 10 for me. Let's go to week 15 now. So looking ahead to week 15, hopefully, listen, we have buys in the first round, or we make it out of the first round, right? I like the Rams at the Jets. Again, we don't really need explanation there, especially with the quality of the defense that the Rams are. They're going to do well against the Jets. Steelers against the Bengals. Again, a top defense going against a very mediocre, below average offense. Ravens and Jags. Listen, we're getting all of our heavy hitters out there, right? And that includes the Colts against the Titans as well. The Colts did well against the Titans last week. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't continue to do so 2 weeks from now. Next, we have the Cardinals against the Eagles. Patriots against the Dolphins, and I understand that a lot of people think the Dolphins, you know, they could provide some threat, but I just don't really see them as a super high-scoring team, especially if Tua's the quarterback. So I do like what the Patriots have been doing and what they could do against the Dolphins. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks against Washington, Browns against the Giants, Vikings against the Bears, and that's a little tough one for me. But unless we see Mitch really go off in the next few weeks, I do like that matchup there because the Bears are not very efficient offensively. And lastly, I like the Dolphins at the Patriots. Again, it could be sort of a very gritty, a very hard-fought divisional game. The Dolphins just have a really good unit. The Patriots, obviously Cam can score, but I'm not that scared of their offense. So that's my top 10 for week 15. Now, lastly, let's go into week 16. So hopefully we've all made it to championships here, right? I hope, the most of you guys are there. I hope my content has been good, but listen, we're all hoping for the ship, and this is week 16. So if we make it here, we're going to start with the Ravens at the Giants. Then we're going to go Browns against the Jets. Hey, you guys see the common theme here, right? Let's pick up the defenses going against New York teams. Saints at the Vikings will be a really good one. Chargers at the Broncos. Even though we don't love the Chargers defense, or I don't love the Chargers defense, I think, with the lack of explosiveness out of the Broncos, the Chargers could be a good stream option here. Colts at the Steelers. Now, this is an interesting one. Colts obviously are one of the top units in the league, right? But with the Steelers getting upset by Washington, which we called that upset of the season. There is actually a good chance that if the Steelers have home field locked by them, the Colts could be playing Mason Rudolph. So let's keep an eye out to see what's going on with them in week 16. But the Colts could be a really juicy play here. We have the Bucs going against the Lions here. Panthers, if they continue to show out and continue to do well, they have a great matchup against Washington. Cardinals against the 49ers, Steelers commercially against the Colts. Again, let's see sort of what happens if they pull their starters or not. And then lastly, Rams against Seahawks. I did want to include the Rams here. The Seahawks have been struggling as of right now, and defenses have been doing okay. I mean, the Giants just put up 12 points against them. So let's see where things are. Let's see if Russ starts cooking again in the going into the playoffs. But that's a good one to keep an eye for. So those are weeks 14 through 16. Let's look at the final list and strategize a little bit about how we want to do it. So we see here we have all of the teams we like. So weeks 14, 15, and 16. What I did was I took the common denominator, how many times each team showed up, so we can start thinking about stashes, right? So let's look at the next 3 weeks here. So for a 3-week hold, I think if you have the Rams, Colts, Cardinals, or Ravens, Rams, Colts, and Ravens are all probably owned. They're some of the top share defenses. If you have those, you should be in a pretty decent spot. And surprisingly, the Cardinals actually made an appearance in 3 weeks here, right? Some of you might be asking about the Steelers, and the Steelers barely made the cut, right? I just don't love their matchup in week 14 against the Bills. I went back and looked at a few matchups for the Bills against some tougher defenses, and the Bills have been putting up a lot of points, so I'm not really trusting the Steelers defense. So your 3-week starters and star defenses, in my opinions, are going to be the Rams, Colts, Cardinals, and Ravens. These are the guys that may not necessarily be the top every week, but if you have them, they are a good option. For weeks 14 and 15, I say we can comfortably start the Seahawks. We have the Seahawks as number 4 in week 15 and number 7 in week 15. For weeks 15 to 16, the Steelers and Browns are great options. Steelers are probably going to be owned by most people, but hey, Browns, we've talked a lot about this during our streams. The Browns should be a decent pickup here. Lastly, for if we go outside, we're looking at weeks 14 to 16. The Saints are a good option, the Bucs are a good option, and the Panthers are also a good option. So let me just zoom out again, so anyone who's interested can look at this final list here. Let me just zoom in as much as I can without cutting anything off. So again, A through C here, we have the top 10 defenses in my opinion for weeks 14, weeks 14, weeks 15, weeks 16. And then for 3-week starts, we have these 4, and columns E through G, you can see what I like per week. I don't think I missed any combination 14, 15, 15, 16, 14, 16. So yeah, that's it. So hopefully that helps. I know this video was overdue, so I appreciate y'all being very patient with me. But hey, take a look. Let me know if you have any questions. As a disclosure, any of this can really just change week to week. So if there are any drastic changes going into week 15, we'll talk about it in the streams. I can make an update video if necessary, but this is as of today what I feel comfortable with and what I really think will help us for people that may need to stream defenses. So hopefully this helps you all. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you in the next live stream. Thanks, guys.